is not what national sovereignty looks like. What do you mean that the Trump administration is saying that they will condition the release of disaster funds that Americans pay for themselves, our tax dollars, to affected states if those states boycott Israeli companies? Excuse me, bitch? Let's put aside for a second that this is wildly unconstitutional. There should already be lawsuits about this. You cannot tell American fucking citizens that we are not allowed to boycott anyone. This is why it fucking gets me when people are like, why are you always picking on Israel? Why are you guys always picking on Israel? Name me another country where as an American citizen, you can have your taxpayer funds withheld from you for disaster relief because you chose to exercise your First Amendment right to boycott. To boycott a foreign government. You know you can boycott any state in the nation if you're American, but you can't boycott a foreign one? This is why people focus on the Israeli regime, because no other country is trying to violate our sovereignty. And MAGA, you show your whole fucking ass when it comes to stuff like this, because you should be freaking out. If you really love the country so much, if you were really such a fucking patriot, 1776, don't tread on me, blah, 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 you would be outraged about this. You would be outraged at the idea that any administration or any president would say, we're going to withhold your own tax dollars that you may need for flooding relief, hurricane relief in any state if you don't bow down to the Israeli regime. If you try to exercise your First Amendment right to boycott, we're not going to give you any of your own taxpayer money. There have already been so many devastating disasters this year that have affected states all across the country, and they're saying, sorry, Texas, sorry, Kentucky, sorry, South Carolina, you won't benefit from any of your own taxpayer money for disaster relief unless you pledge allegiance to Israel. See, but unlike you posers, I actually care about our First Amendment and our sovereignty. I'm the fucking patriot, bitch. And I'll tell you motherfuckers right now that as a patriotic American, I am not going to be told who the fuck I can and can't boycott. I know what the Constitution says, ho, and I'm not going to allow any of you motherfuckers to tell me what I can and can't say, who I can and can't criticize, who I can and can't boycott, and you're not gonna fucking force me to support an apartheid regime carrying out genocide. No! I do not consent! It's too bad that MAGA has no principles and that all this like patriotism, America first is bullshit, because if this were a Democratic president doing it, I guarantee you guys would care. Explain how this is America first. Okay? See, this is why Trump is putting out that culture war slop on Truth Social today. Whenever you see Trump and all of his influencers, hacks like Megyn Kelly and Benny Johnson, Tim Pool, and all the other MAGA meat writers, whenever you see them trying to distract and all coming out with the kind of same tweet, focusing on Trump's newest, latest steaming pile of culture war dung, ask yourself what they're trying to distract from. I'm guessing that this is the latest that they're trying to distract from, because there is absolutely no way to call this America first, the violation of Americans' First Amendment rights. This is literally illegal. It's literally unconstitutional, but it doesn't matter if no one's going to stop them, if no one's going to sue them. It's the same thing with the Republicans trying to illegally re-gerrymander Texas. We'll get into that in a different video, but clearly what they're doing is illegal. But does it matter if no one's going to stop them? You know that Republicans and MAGA and all the people who pretend to be America first are actually full of shit, and they're all shills for Israel, and they're totally fine with our government not actually being sovereign and our country not being sovereign and making decision on behalf of foreign governments. So your second question might be, okay, so where are the Democrats? Where are the lawsuits? Why aren't people immediately fighting back against this? Because this is unconstitutional. And the reason would be because Democrats also don't oppose it. Here's Josh Gottheimer, who is a Democratic representative from New Jersey, proud to introduce a new bipartisan bill to give the Department of Education critical new tools to crack down on the BDS movement and from people in colleges being able to participate in BDS, which again is unconstitutional. You, as a lawmaker, Josh Gottheimer, have no fucking right to tell college students what they can and can't boycott. America has a First Amendment. You are not allowed to legislate people's ability to boycott. Period. This bipartisan piece of legislation that they're introducing to attack colleges and students who participate in BDS is, of course, as I said, wildly unconstitutional and against the First Amendment, which is why they always have to name it something so fucking Orwellian and upside down. The Protect Economic and Academic Freedom Act? Why? Why do they always have to be so over the top? Calling it the Protect Economic and Academic Freedom Act, it's literally attacking people's economic freedom, Americans' economic freedom to boycott in our First Amendment. Cracking down on students' freedom to protest. Stop with this gaslighting. Just call it the protect the Israeli economy at the expense of students' First Amendment rights and academic freedom act. And where's the pushback? America First Republicans and Democrats who claim they care about freedom and academic freedom in our First Amendment, everybody should be against this. Everybody should be pointing out that it's unconstitutional, but are they? No. Which begs the question again, can you really call America a sovereign nation if we don't have control over who we can and can't boycott, who we can and can't speak out against, and our government can deny our own citizens disaster relief if they boycott a foreign government? Everybody should be speaking out against this. Everybody should be calling the representatives and reminding them that this is unconstitutional. And I'd say if you're a conservative who happens to see this or a MAGA person, you should speak out against this. You should tell your MAGA influencers that they need to too, but I'm going to go ahead and guess that most of the people that call themselves America First don't actually have a problem with this.